Chris Cillizza, CNN politics reporter and editor-at-large. What's going on?
This is exciting.
So fun. All right, so he mentioned audit. Like, take us down memory lane of all the reasons why Trump has said he can't release his tax returns.
So there have been a lot. Okay, but audit is the one that we come back to. He repeatedly says, I'm under audit. Now, just one point here. You can release your tax returns when you are under audit. And a president can. Richard Nixon did it in 1973 to prove that he wasn't a crook. But that's his most common one. One thing, hard to prove he's under audit or not. We still don't know that. IRS keeps that information. They don't release it publicly. Okay, let's go to the next Trump explanation. This one is really, I laugh because it's ridiculous. So they're extremely complex. He said this a lot of different ways, but basically, you don't need to see them. You wouldn't understand them. I think we have some sound of him saying that. Let's play that.
Okay.
Point blank, Democrats go after your tax returns. Will you try to block that, or will you allow them to have them?
Well, look, as I've told you, they're under audit. They have been for a long time. They're extremely complex. People wouldn't understand them.
My favorite part, that's the day after the election, that press conference. My favorite part of that press conference is he goes on to say, a lot of big firms working on them. I don't know what that has to do with anything, but okay, so that's two reasons. Let's go to explanation number 3. People didn't care. Now, this is more Trump's senior counselor, Kellyanne Conway, than Trump himself, but Kellyanne Conway, shortly after the election, was asked about this, and I think we have sound of that, of why they shouldn't release it. Let's play that.
The White House response is that he's not going to release his tax returns. We litigated this all through the election. People didn't care. They voted for him. And let me make this very clear. Most Americans are very focused on what their tax returns will look like while President Trump is in office, not what his look like.
Okay, now here's the problem with that. There are two things. One, there's no way of measuring that people voted on tax returns or not. There's no question on the exit polling that suggests that this was a referendum on his taxes.
But you can measure if people care.
Absolutely. So let's go to a poll question that I believe we have. Okay, Quinnipiac University, March 1 through 4, relatively recently. Should Donald Trump publicly release tax returns? Yes, should. It's 2/3. Right? I'm no mathematician, but that's a lot more than the people who say no. And again, this is just, they don't want to do this, Brooke, right? That they've decided that whatever is in those returns, he is going to husband those. He is not going to release them under any circumstances unless he is forced to legally. They make up a bunch of excuses. Audit, you wouldn't understand it. A lot of big firms, people don't care. There's no factual basis out of those 3 reasons that would suggest he can't. He is choosing not to, and that's the important thing.
Sounds like Chairman Neal's on it and is using one little rule to see if they can get their hands on those 6 years' worth of tax returns.
Right. That's the only path by which this is going to happen.
Right.
Yep.
Chris, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.